Welcome to Let's Talk News. I'm Leticia Remauro, and it's 8 o'clock. And thank you for joining me tonight. It is October 28th, and NBC is still the worst news organization in the world. But tonight, we're going to make some news, and we're going to talk about some news. So I thank you once again for spending your evening with me. Let's see who's there. Debbie, good to have you there here with us, Debbie Lebedo. And Francine, thank you very much for being such a loyal viewer. I hope you're having as much fun doing this as I am because, every day I find myself yelling at the TV, and I find that I do that less now because I get a chance to speak with all of you. And my mother is with us. You're very welcome, Mom. And you know what? I baked dinner rolls, but they weren't ready in time for dinner, Mom. So I'll send you over some tomorrow. It is a rainy day here in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. And whenever it's raining, I feel like baking, especially, in the when the weather gets cool. So I got this dinner roll recipe off the internet. As I do with most recipes, I changed it up a little bit and I made these honey butter dinner rolls. They were so good. The thing is that I kept thinking they were biscuits and I took them out of the oven too early and I timed dinner so that the dinner rolls would come out of the oven hot and they weren't cooked all the way. So I had to put them back in and it took a little while to cook. But Mom, I'll send some over tomorrow. Oh my God, Leticia, I'm getting hammered for posting stats in the New York City mayoral race. Unreal. Tell me, what kind of stats are you posting? And who's hammering you? The race is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And yesterday, Deb, we talked about it in depth. I actually showed the polls over time. And as you recall, right, we all talked about that come November, after the debate, one candidate between Curtis and Cuomo was going to have to break out and start to take points away from the other and also points away from Mamdani. And once that candidate showed themselves, then we'd see where the race was going. And what seems to be happening now is that the candidate that's breaking out is Cuomo because he's taking votes from Curtis and from Mamdani now. So there is a chance that Cuomo could win. I know it's not what we want, but there is a chance. Hello, Howard Zim. Good to have you with us. And here's Angela Ricca. I depressed Angela and Maisie and I think others last night when we were talking about this mayor's race. But tell me, okay, the Curtis not able to win stats. Yeah, it was pretty somber around here yesterday too when I showed the same thing. Look, here's the way Curtis can win. Everybody has to bring a busload of people to vote for Curtis. Everybody in Staten Island has to bring a busload of people to vote for Curtis. And you would think that shouldn't be a problem, right? You're facing socialism there. So you would think that it wouldn't be a problem to gather up enough people to go vote for Curtis. But it is a problem because Democrats will not vote on the Republican line. Also, I was on Giuliani Live listening to him, even though he endorsed Curtis. He said Curtis needs a miracle. He does. Listen, we all love Curtis because he's our friend. I love Curtis, but I'm never going to lie. I'm always going to give the truth, whether it makes me popular or not. Do I wish Curtis could win? Yeah, I do. I mean, listen, I think that the right candidate, honestly, and I was talking to her today, it was her birthday, Vicky Palladino should have been the candidate. Great woman, used to be a Democrat, but she is a full force Republican now. Or Allison Esposito, who was the lieutenant governor candidate to Lee Zeldin. Cuomo at this point is the only way. It is. It's the way to say, it's not the only way because there's always hope, but it seems to be the way that makes the most sense right now, considering people are so apathetic and they're all over the place. Hello, Susan. Good to have you. I hate the Cuomos, but Andrew is still better than Mamdani. Absolutely. Yesterday we talked a little bit about how, Cuomo got tricked by the woke leftist, and they were obviously holding something over his head. And so he started playing footsie with them, because I want to remind everybody, even though Cuomo came after Trump later on in COVID, in the beginning, he was on TV saying what a great job Trump was doing. Remember those days? That's the Cuomo I knew and I worked with, when I was in the Pataki administration working in Battery Park City, and Cuomo was working, as HUD. Somewhere down once they double crossed him and got rid of him, I think now he's back to his father's son. And we're going to see both he and Chris making dad, staying a little closer to dad's principles than to the woke leftists. Hello, Cookie. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you can type now. Yes, we all love Curtis, but we live in the state of reality and the city is blue. You're right. You're right, Debbie. You're right. And I'm waiting until 11:04. Okay. Got it. Just make sure you can cast your vote. That has always been my biggest concern. As soon as early voting started, I started saying Republicans have to vote early, because if you limit yourself to one day and the Democrats can screw around with the voting machines, you lose your vote. And we've seen that happen a lot of times, haven't we, Deb? And Angela knows. I would never vote for a Democrat. I got it. So what are you going to do? So then you're going to have to vote for Curtis, because he's the only Republican, he's the only one on the Republican line. I have to remind everybody, there is no real Republican in this race. Okay. Curtis was never a Republican. Curtis was independent. Hi, Tony Whitaker. And good, Angela. I hope you voted your conscience. I hope you feel good about it. And then he was, remember we had the Freedom Party, he and Frank Morano together. And I used to help them out with that a little bit. Curtis is not a Republican. He's conservative leaning, but he's not a Republican. And the conservatives don't have a candidate in this race. And that's too bad, because Curtis should have taken that line. It would have helped them out a lot. But the conservatives are running a Democrat on their line. So this is all screwed up. You've got lots of Democrats and no Republicans. That's the truth. You just have a Freedom Party guy, independent, on the Republican line. This is not a popularity contest. We are not in high school voting for who is most likely to succeed. A communist is in the lead. Yeah, he is in the lead, but I don't know how true that is, because I don't always believe polls. But I will say that since the majority of the Democrats, the majority of New York City, Manhattan, and actually, I haven't looked at the demographics lately, but the city was always young, right? That was the majority was young. Staten Island, I think, is 40, but the rest, I think Queens and Brooklyn was in early 30s, and then Manhattan and the Bronx was in their 20s. That was the demographic. That was the average age. That's because so many people leave their hometowns and come to New York City. So it's a very transient group of people. And even though 5 million people are registered to vote, I would say that true registration is probably more around 3 million. And of that 3 million, 1 million voted in the last race between Adams and Curtis. And the race with Nicole, it was 1.5 million. Nicole and de Blasio was 1.5 million. And then the primary was 1 million. So I think only less than 500,000 are Republicans. I think it's like 325,000 of the 5 million registered. And then the rest are like independents and all these crazy little, now they're blanks, because I don't think we have a lot of lines anymore. I think Cuomo got rid of them. So the rest are blanks, but they're all young. They're all young. Where am I going with this? They want free stuff because they're all young, because they're used to, getting free stuff from mom and dad. I live in a state of confusion. The prophet Phil Collins. Yeah. Vote. Yeah. Deb, get your vote locked in. I've been going back and forth, so confused. I know, Tony. I know. Look, here's what I say. I'll give you my personal, if I was there, what I would do. If I was there, I would vote for Cuomo, because I think that hoping that enough Republicans will come out, even if 325, even if every Republican in the place voted for Curtis, he's still not going to win, right? And that's not going to happen, and we know it. If it's true that we're going to split the vote, right? The Dems are going to split the vote. Then right now, Cuomo's the one siphoning the votes, not Curtis. So Curtis is, listen, it's like my race, right? When I was running for borough president, I stayed on the line because the Conservative Party asked me to stay on the line. Normally, I would have never done that. I would never have caused a three-way race, but I did because I made a promise going in, and I did. But believe me, I prayed every day that I wouldn't be the cause of a Democrat to become the borough president. I knew I wouldn't, but you still have that fear. I fear for Curtis, because if he becomes a spoiler in this, if Cuomo loses by 2 or 3 points, Curtis and Mamdani wins, Curtis is going to be the pariah. And I've said this here before. So I would vote for Cuomo and be done with it. We talked about that. A lot of people on the calls I pulled tonight said they were voting Curtis. Well, that I get it, Angela. I just don't see, unless you're making 1 million phone calls and you lock down, 600,000, unless Curtis has 600,000 locked down, which I know he does not, it's not going to happen. It's just not. Leticia, if you want to run for mayor, I still have your card from the last time you ran for office. No. But I think Vicky Palladino is who you should look to for 2029. I told her so. She should have been the candidate this time. Praying for a miracle, but I will vote before the 4th, so my vote will count. Good. However you vote early, because you never know what's going to happen. And we know, we have Vinny Ignazio in there now, but the Board of Elections, you just know. Everybody's ancient. You don't know what kind of shenanigans are going to be played. New York City mayoral race usually has very low turnout. I think it was only 25% last election. It was 20% because there's 5 million registered voters and 1 million came out, right? So that's 20. Yeah, 20. If it was 3 million, which is what I think is real, because when I say what's real, they don't purge the voter rolls. So like if I come from Kentucky and I rent a place down in Greenwich Village and I register to vote and whatever else, and then I move to Brooklyn, do I remember that I didn't re-register? Or maybe I go back to Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? And then there are women that get married and they change their name and they leave those names or they hyphenate their names. There's a lot of reasons. Howard, this time it's different. I agree. Can he still get out? Curtis? No, he can't get out, and he won't get out. It's a matter of the people deciding what to do. I don't expect to be living in New York City in 2029, looking to move to South Carolina. Look me up. We'll talk. Hi, Professor, and hi, Lucille. Good to have you. Okay. So we spent the whole show last night talking about the mayor's race. And I'll just put in a plug. If you're not feeling the vote for Vito Fossella, I think people are writing in Sam Pirozola, I have heard. I don't think the Democrats really are running a candidate, but I think Sam would be a great borough president personally. He's smart, and I'd be happy to serve voluntarily, help him out in any way he can. But anyway, just so that you know, Pirozola, that's who people are writing in. Okay, so let's talk about the budget. Did you know? Hold on, let me find my handy dandy stuff here. Okay, here we go. Did you know that the last time Congress passed a full budget was for fiscal year 2021, which was in 2020 under Trump? And after that, look at what has gone on. In 2022, which happened in 2021 under Biden, 3 CRs to an omnibus bill on March 22nd, delayed 5 months. Again, under Biden, FY 2023, 4 CRs, omnibus December 2022, delayed 3 months. FY 2024, 4 CRs, 2 omnibus packages split into 2 phases, March and September of 2024. For 2025, remember, this was introduced under Biden, ongoing government shutdown, no CR or budget pass, first full shutdown since 2018 or 2019. So what does that mean? In order to pass a budget, and let's just quick, in order to pass a budget, there's 12 parts to it. The Congress presents, the president presents his budget. I say his because there's only ever been a male president, to Congress. Then Congress takes that budget and takes a look at it, moves some things around, and passes a bill. Then the Senate has to match that. Usually it doesn't. More negotiations, Democrats and Republicans, the president involved. Everybody goes back and forth, and eventually the 12 parts pass, and they pass on time. And I believe that I can't even remember the United States. I think it's April. I'm pretty sure the budget starts in April, but I might be wrong. Somebody could look it up and check me. It could be July or June. I can't remember. Like New York City's budget has to start July 1st. New York State's budget is May. Has to start May or April 1st, because the state funds the city. So actually ours might be federal might be January. I can't remember. Having said that, because I'm wasting a lot of time, the last time we had a real budget was under Trump. The whole Biden administration was CRs. And this CR that the Republicans came out of Congress and that has been on the floor of the Senate is the same CR, take a look, as 2024 CR, as 2023 CR, as 2022 CR. Okay, so that's the same thing. And the Republicans have passed it, but the Democrats are saying no. It's a clean CR. There's no junk in it. Why are the Democrats saying no? They're talking about healthcare, Obamacare. Obamacare, when it was created in 2015, was supposed to sunset 2025. That's what the Democrats said when they passed it. In 2025, it would expire. But all of a sudden, they want to throw $1.4 trillion into it. Why? Because it's been a failure. Look at how bad it's been. This is Obamacare. I want you to see universal coverage. It was, they said every American would be insured. Success? No. Uninsured rate fell from 16% to 18%, but every American is not insured. Lower premiums, cut family premiums by $2,500 a year to make care affordable. Failed. Average family premium rose 80% from $13K to $24K. Deductions up to 50%, went up 50%. Marketplace plans affordable for low income, but higher costs for middle income. Keep your plan. Obama said, you can keep your plan. You can keep your doctor. No. Broken promise. 7 million plans canceled. 214,000 doctors opted out. Costs contained. He wanted to bend the cost curve down and save $900 billion over 10 years. Well, it wasn't that didn't happen. National health spending as a percentage of GDP rose 17.3%. Gross spending hit 1.4 trillion. Overall family costs rose from 18K to more than 30K per year. Protections, ban denials for pre-existing conditions. This is the only place that there was a success. So they couldn't deny you for pre-existing, and parents could keep kids on until 26. Medicare solvency, no cuts to Medicare and extended trust fund life. Partial success. They added benefits like free checkups and extended solvency to 26 years from before it was 10 years out. 716 billion in provider cuts strained some of the plans. And then job impact. The statement was it won't hurt jobs. The focus would be on growing jobs, and it's mixed. The CBO estimates $2.5 million fewer full-time equivalents due to mandates. No mass job killing effect. Some employees got their hours cut. So that is the truth about Obamacare. That came from the Office of Management and Budget. Okay, you can look that up. So we know that Obamacare doesn't work. Trump told us that when he took office that it wasn't working, and indeed it doesn't work. And so the question is, why do they want to put $1.4 trillion in this CR? You just saw, I read to you that was the cost, $1.4 trillion for Obamacare. I want to play you this clip. It's a long clip, but it's worth watching. This is something else. Watch.
It's been 15 years since President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act into law, better known as Obamacare.
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. You will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
But it has also come with a pretty big price tag, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an unbelievable amount of money when you really look at the numbers here. So the subsidies have grown a lot, from about $50 billion a year in 2020 to more than $120 billion now. Just since COVID, American taxpayers have spent around $440 billion on subsidies entirely.
A key part of the COVID relief bill creates the most significant changes to the Affordable Care Act since it was passed more than 10 years ago. Among other changes, some important provisions include providing larger subsidies to buy insurance.
Taxpayers are the ones footing the bill, and premiums for people who are not getting these subsidies can still be really high.
It only took 15 years, but the Washington Post admitting that Obama's notorious Affordable Care Act was never actually affordable.
Once you habituate people to some generous government handout, they grow dependent on it. It becomes politically perilous, if not impossible, to fully claw it back. Conservatives anticipated fights like this one.
That's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. I would love to have a conversation about extending the tax credits for health care. Absolutely. But I would remind everybody, too, this was designed by the Democratic Party to expire at the end of the year. This is not something taken by the Republicans. They were designed to expire.
Some have threatened the government shut down if they can't shut down this law. Now, knowing you can offer your family the security of health care, that's priceless. Now you can do it for the cost of your cable bill or less.
And when I logged on, I was like, no, this is very bad. This is much higher than we were currently paying.
Their current plan costs $450 a month with a $5,000 family deductible. The bronze plan she found will cost her $650 a month with a deductible somewhere between $3,500 and $6,000.
Definitely, I was expecting to see more options or more affordable plans available.
He was quoted $838 a month with a $1,000 deductible, and that is after taxpayers kick in a $150 per month subsidy.
I was hurt. I was truly hurt because of the fact that I was expecting better.
She learned her cheapest option under the Affordable Care Act is between $357 and $387 a month with a $6,000 deductible.
If you like your insurance plan, you will keep it. No one will be able to take that away from you. It hasn't happened yet. It won't happen in the future.
But it is happening.
What did you find out?
that my insurance was going to be completely different, and they were going to be replaced with 10 new plans that were going to fall under, the regulations of the Affordable Care Act.
Her insurer, Kaiser Permanente, is terminating policies for 160,000 people in California.
Now I'm being forced to choose from a bunch of new plans that I don't want to choose from that are all more expensive.
The government says the cost of mid-level health plans next year will increase by an average of 25%. That will hit consumers in 39 states. Major carriers are dropping out in some markets. About 1 in 5 consumers will be able to choose from only one provider. Government numbers show about 2.5 million Americans not currently enrolled could be eligible for subsidies to offset cost increases.
We need a bigger understanding of why this is happening, because the idea was not only to spread coverage around, but that by spreading the coverage around, not only would it help people get more preventative care, but then it would ultimately bring the costs down. And instead, the premiums are skyrocketing.
Okay, I hope you were paying attention, because to me, that was the best synopsis of what happened in Obamacare. And if you took a look, all of those news stations, they were not Fox. Okay, they were not Fox. They were not News Nation. They were CNN. They were ABC, CBS. Okay, so what's a CR? Continuing resolution. Continuing resolution is they resolved to fund the government for a certain amount of time until a budget could be negotiated. And they did that for 4 years, for all of Obama's years. Biden, all of Biden's years, because we know Obama was pulling the strings. Funding health care to ERs and hospitals for illegals. You're right there. You're right there, Deb. And gender reaffirming. That's right. My insurance went up $50. My husband's $20. Oh my God, they never stop with their insanity. It's all about their sick agendas to take care of illegals, not Americans. And supposedly that doesn't happen, but right in that clip, it was admitted that they're there. Illegals are being taken care of through trips to the ER. So why the continuing resolutions? Why the no adoption of a budget? Well, first off, during COVID, they decided that because, COVID is an illness and people needed health insurance, that they took the money under Biden, they took more money and they dumped it into Obamacare, okay, to help to pay the premiums. Okay, so we already had subsidies of $150 a month per insured for most of these plans. But now during COVID, that went up. Okay. And all of a sudden, real money was going to the insurance companies. Real money was going to the insurance companies. That's why Obama said you can keep your health coverage, you can keep your doctor. It didn't work out that way. And that's always the way when the government starts to get involved in small business. 100% better than Americans. I'm not sure what that refers to, Susan. But guess what? The insurance industry decided that they got used to that money. And I want you to look at this. Okay, this is the insurance industry PAC total for Democrats in 2023-24 surged 10% year over year amid Affordable Care Act fights. Okay, the insurance industry donations to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Health Committee Democrats correlate with extension bills like H.R. 5145, a bipartisan one-year extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Insurers like Centene explicitly lobbied the Trump administration for preservation of the Affordable Care Act, citing revenue reliance of $169 billion for 2025 and just for that company. So the top 10 Obamacare insurers spent $24 million lobbying in 2025. They are United Health, they gave almost $8 million. Elevance, almost $6 million. Centene, $2.4 million. And they were targeting continuing resolution, that's the CR, subsidy talks. America's health insurance plans, that is a market, a group of insurers, spent $13.1 million more than in 2025 than in all of 2024. Those are donations. And oh, by the way, they gave oodles of money to Kamala Harris, oodles of money for her campaign, a lot, in a lot of PACs. So the reason that federal employees are not taking a paycheck, the reason that people have to worry about whether or not they can fly, the reason that Americans can't go to national parks, the reason that our government is shut down right now is that Chuck Schumer is carrying water for the insurance industry. He has gotten millions of dollars, and his PACs have gotten even more, up to $395 million for him to spread around. So right now, the American people are now being used as pawns so that the insurance companies can get a bigger piece of tax dollars from the Americans. It's got nothing to do with protecting the middle class from illness and making sure that they can see a doctor, because you saw right there the middle class suffered under Obamacare. So the only people that did well under Obamacare were the poor. But the poor already have health insurance, Medicaid, right? Medicaid. Why did we need to change everything up? Because Obama needed to get money to the insurance industry. Just like the pharmaceutical industry. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being used once again, as always, by our Congress so that they can line their pockets. And that is a problem. How illegals are treated. Oh, yes, much better than Americans. So just let's put it all together, right? We have already seen under Biden, we have already seen almost 20 million illegal migrants come into this country. And you could just look at the population explosion from 2020 and 2019 to today. There's about $345 million according to the million American people in America, according to the websites. It was far less than that in 2020. I think it was 319 or 20 million. So we've gone up about 45 million according to the websites. Those people were brought here so that more congressional seats could be had, so that Democrats could keep permanent control of Congress. We know that, right? Because as long as you have the people counted in the census, we're good. Now they're scrambling because they have to keep these people here for until 2030 so that they can be counted, which isn't going to happen, which is why Trump is in such an all-fire hurry to get rid of them, because they have to go back. They have to go back because what the Democrats have been doing is illegal. And now we find out that Obama's pet project that benefits nobody except for the insurance industry, because it does not benefit the middle class, and the poor already had health insurance under Medicaid. So the only people that is benefiting poor now are migrants, okay? Because they're not actually quote unquote illegal, because Biden made them legal contingent on waiting for their processing. But what Trump did in the big, beautiful bill was he said, nope, people on waiting lists, waiting for processing, cannot get health care. You can't get federal aid. Just can't do it. And that's why the Democrats went crazy with the big, beautiful bill. The end of the day, they are fucking around with your life, with our lives, with our money. And it's not sustainable. Do you think the Dems will cave and open the government? I think that it's going to have to happen. And I think that, that the more we talk about why this is all happening, specifically that Obamacare has failed, and that's just a fact. You can get that from anywhere. It failed. It's been a failure. It continues to be a failure, and we should all be talking about that. And that they want to put $1.4 trillion into it when middle-class Americans are not covered the way they were supposed to be covered. I mean, just that simple chart that I put up, you could see that it's been more promises broken, more failures than successes. So people need to see that it's not to help the people that work and pay taxes. It's, the poor already have welfare and food stamps and health care. So which poor are we talking about? There's only one group of poor that they want to protect, and that's the people that came here under Biden, the people who came here because Biden opened the border and invited them in. So we got to keep talking about that. We have to talk about the only entity that's actually making money from Obamacare is the insurance company. And of course the pharmaceutical companies, because they all go hand in hand, right? So, and the insurance industry is the richest industry in America. They are responsible. They're the money behind our mortgages. They're the money behind so many things, loans, all kinds of things. That's the insurance industry. So what are we doing? This is robber baron shit all over again. And Obama was the one that brought it to you. And there was a reason it was supposed to go away in 2025, because everything was supposed to get resolved. But as is the case with anything that the government puts their hands on when it's related to business, it fucked it up. We've seen them coming into our country, and the Democrats had nothing to see here. Absolutely. They had a plan. They're all liars, including the corrupt media. Yes. And let me just say something to you. I'm not absolving the Republicans out of this, because the healthcare industry spent in total, I think it was $45 million donating and lobbying, and the Republicans got more money than the Democrats, and that was to get them to vote for Obamacare and to vote for more money into Obamacare, and many people did, and a lot of them have now run for the hills since Donald Trump has become president. So I want you just to think about that. And also something else you can think of, and we're way over as usual, something else you can think about, $42 million 42 million people as of Saturday will no longer have food stamps, right? And the Democrats are trying to say that, it's somehow or another, it's Trump's fault, it's Republicans' fault. And it doesn't matter whose fault it is, because it should teach us all a lesson. If 42 million people are going to go hungry because they depend on the government to feed them, then that should teach us that communism doesn't work. Because if the government can feed you, the government can also starve you. And the government can decide who eats and who doesn't. So for all those people who thinking that socialism might not be so bad, just think about the food stamp situation. It's an exercise. I mean, it's not exactly socialism, but socialism usually turns to communism, right? Tell your friends, if you're going to complain about food stamps, then don't vote for Mamdani, because the government is feeding 42 million people and they just shut the water off. And who shut that spigot? Was the Democrats, not the Republicans. The Democrats shut the spigot. So think about that. Do we really want to try and experiment in socialism? Just look what happened with the food stamps. Hello, Gloria. It's okay. You can catch up on the reruns. But we're just talking here about the real reason the government is shut down. And just to synopsize, the government is shut down right now because Chuck Schumer and his whole committee for the health committee are being paid by the insurance companies because they want to extend the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare. That $1.4 trillion that it cost, they want that back because they need to pay their masters, which is the insurance companies. Obamacare is a failure. It's been a failure. It continues to be a failure. It should have sunsetted that when the bill was passed. It was supposed to end in 2025 because they were supposed to find another way to handle things. They didn't. If they couldn't do it in 10 years, what makes us think they can do it in the next 10 years? They can't. They don't belong in private business. Private business belongs in private business. That's communism. We want no part of it. But we basically kind of sort of have it, right? 345 million people, 42 million on food stamps, claiming they will starve because the Democrats decided not to pass a continuing resolution. So if the Democrats could decide to starve 42 million people, what's to say that in New York City, if Mamdani's elected and he starts taking over all the private grocery stores, right? Or he starts opening grocery stores, wants to say that he can decide, oh, if you're a Republican, you can't shop in the grocery store. Or if you're a Christian, or if you're a Catholic, or if you're a Jew, or if you're a cop, or any of the other things that he hates. What's to stop him? Nothing. A vote for Mamdani is a vote for no bacon and no pork chops. A vote for Mamdani is a vote for insanity. Hello, John Guzzo. Good to have you. Okay, so I know I've been just talking endlessly, but do we all get it? Do we all see? If we do, then my strong suggestion is that, and I should probably have put this together. Maybe I'll post it on my Facebook page. I'm going to look for the senators of purple states like Pennsylvania, and we're going to start a telephone tree, and we're going to start calling those senators and saying, why are you starving 42 million people? Why are you starving 42 million people? And why are you holding the government hostage for a healthcare system that only serves the poor? It does not serve middle class. It raised the cost of healthcare for the middle class. Take a look on my Facebook page. I'm going to have a shorter reel of that news, that news compilation on my Facebook page. But let's call those senators and let's see if we can't get 5 senators to come over. I think it needs to happen before Saturday. But everybody talk about it. Talk about it. I'll post, a lot of the slides that I have here. I'll post them and you can share them. Let's make sure that people know what's really going on. All right. 45 minutes almost. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. We will be back tomorrow night. And I'm coming up to New York next weekend. So Angela, I think I'm going to see you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.